Hello, fellow humans. This is, I guess, the introduction to the first solo release by me. This may not be the best representation of all the music and art that I've made, but it's definitely a very good representation of some very real feelings and thoughts I had one time. To provide some context for the work, I'll give you a bit of history. Some of you may not know that for many years I was in a loving relationship with a wonderful and beautiful human being who was, through only some fault of her own and a pretty serious amount of history, dealt a rough hand with a lot of domestic abuse and infidelity in her family history. And sadly, through our experience, that was visited upon me a lot in the form of some pretty serious physical and verbal abuse. And I don't say this to sort of like garner sympathy or whatever, but just to say that it was a pretty big learning experience for me. And the point is that getting through it was really tough. I mean, I leaned on a lot of friends, but many times they weren't around when the thrashing was thrashing hard. And I leaned also very, very hard on drawing a lot. You know, we generally think of art as a way to transmute what we're feeling into something physical and sort of get it out of ourselves. A lot of the times, the faculties that you learn as an artist are not available to you. The vocabulary that you've absorbed is not available to you in the moment that you're feeling those things. And you're only able to sort of process them and create them and put them out in the world afterwards. And sometimes when the feelings are strong enough or the difficulty is large enough, that transmutation, that moment of looking back, thinking, feeling, here's what I'm going to do about it, never happens. I've found a lot that while music requires so many different faculties and so many different parts of your brain, drawing, scratching, Jackson Pollock-y style is so much more direct. And when I was really thrashing and having difficult times and things were destroyed around the house, or a physical altercation had ruined my day or week, and I needed to do something and I didn't have the wherewithal to tell anyone, drawing really worked it out really well for me. It was a really great forum to just kind of spew some really intense feelings, because for those of you that have been in any sort of verbal or physical altercation, putting your feelings out against someone else, especially someone you love, is just the worst possible. For some of the time I was able to use my tools to make this thing, and for years for years I sat on it as a thing that I did that one time to help myself. For these drawings I ended up writing some poetry. Poetry is a loose term also. Writing some words and making some music around it too. And so I wanted to share those things here, not so much as an excuse to tell the story and say, look at me, but as a device really to say, like, it's actually pretty accessible and pretty easy. You don't have to think of yourself as an artist or someone who learns anything. Literally, the tools are there for you to express your feelings and do something with them rather than hold on to them. And really, you don't need to share them with anyone else except to get them out of yourself. I happened to get them out of myself, and now, 15 years later, I'm ready to just share them as an item and as a piece of art, which I am justifiably proud of. It's some pretty cool sound design, and I appreciate that. And that took some time. I'll be discussing some of the tools and methods that I used to create it sort of later in the project. But for now, I just wanted to say I hope you enjoy this pretty intense, thrashy, hardcore piece of noise design called Don't Call Back, that was born from a wide variety of self-loathing, anger, and hatred. And boy, it's definitely a mistake to imagine that we're better than those feelings and we don't have those feelings, because everybody has those feelings and you've got to do something with them or they will eat you alive. And this is what I did with them. Pretty interested to see what you might have done with some of yours in the future. So if you want to share the dialogue, please write back. Please feel free to post on my strings or a string of your own or in a private message. Nothing makes me happier than seeing the art of people I know, or even people I don't know. I just love seeing what people have done with their own feelings and thoughts, and I'm looking forward to getting your feedback and all the things. All right, thanks humans, I hope you enjoy, and I'll catch you next time.